Like us here. My name is Karen Wilson, and I'm really proud to be your president this year. If we can have Brian Derringer, Martha, and Joy and Douglas come forward to help us open our meeting.
Please bow with me. Creator God, we thank you today for our blessings and for our challenges. We take comfort in your abundant providence and grace, which we do not deserve. And we seek to reflect you in our service by helping the others in our world, in our spheres of influence, by sharing your providence and by demonstrating your grace. We are all of us others in your sight, yet you call us your own. Yet you show us your love. Help us to imitate your love, be with those who are hurting, sometimes because of us, sometimes through us. Help us to do your work with our hands. And I ask you to bless us now in this time and in this place, through this meal, to your service. Amen.
Would y'all join me in our pledge to our flag of the United States of America? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please have your glasses to hand. Milestones. Remember birthdays: Larry Baird, October 27. Ron Meyer, October 28th. Scott Mall, October 29th. Spouse birthdays: Gary Anderson's wife, Terry, October 26th. Nathan Winstead's wife, Amanda, October 28th. And Gary Hertel's wife, Cece, October 29th. No wedding anniversaries this week. Club anniversaries. Roger Chappell, 2 years, October 28th. And David Mazarang, 2 years, October 28th. Salute.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. If you brought a guest today, would you please stand and introduce your guest? Myra, do we have a microphone? Yeah, okay. Does anyone have a guest to introduce today? Okay. Visiting Rotarians. We have a visiting Rotarian over here. I think we're trying to get the microphone to work. Okay, if you'd like to stand and introduce yourself. Welcome. Thank you for being here. We have some guests in the back of the room. Wonderful. Welcome. Thank you all so much for being here. And John Taylor, if you would stand, please. We'd like to recognize you. Yes, sir. John is moving to Colorado, and we're going to miss him severely here in our club. And I wanted to say thank you for everything you've done for this club. We're going to miss having you around. And today might be your last day here. Today might be your last meeting. Okay. Well, we wanted to thank you so much for your dedication. Thank you, John.
How many years were you in this club? Only 2 years in this club. I was in the Marble Falls Club for 21 years. Before that, I was in the River Oaks Club for 5 years. Before that, I was in the Bangkok, Thailand Club for 2 years. Stavanger, Norway for 2 years, and Aberdeen, Scotland for 5.5 years, and back to Midland, where I was a long time.
John told me he's been in Rotary since March of 1965, and he's been in 8 Rotary clubs. Is Allison McKee here? Allison, you want to come up and tell us what we got going on? And I think we have were you able to pull that video up, Myra? Okay.
We have Pints for Polio tonight. It's a fundraiser at Mesquite Creek Outfitters on the square. It's a social for us, so it's a great opportunity to introduce guests to Rotary Club and raise money to eradicate polio.
Thank you. We have a short video, if Myra can pull it up there. Can you go full screen on that?
This close.
This close.
To tonight more than.
We are this close. This close to making history.
This close.
We're this close. This close. We are this close.
We are this close.
This close.
This close to changing the world.
We are this close to making sure no child suffers of chronic disease ever again. We are this close to making history. We are this close to ending polio. We're this close to ending polio. We're this close.
This close.
This close to ending polio.
This close.
We are this close to ending polio. All we need is you.
All we need is you.
All we need is you. Is you.
All we need is you. This close. If we don't act now, we may lose this chance forever. Help Rotary make history at endpolio.org.
Does anybody know how much this close is? No, this close is actually 22. I'm talking about actually cases identified in 2017. If anybody gets USA Today, there was a statistic on Wednesday, National Polio Day, that in 1988 there were 350,000 identified cases of polio in the world. And last year, 22. It's just an amazing statistic. So it's on to malaria now, clean water, and the poor pig over there needs a lot of feeding, and that's our polio pig. Karen was going to cover it, but if you haven't got your pin on, we're looking for you.
Thank you, Dad. Well, thank you all so much. So don't forget, feed the pig, and come tonight, and then the funds that we collect will go to help eradicate the rest of polio, which are almost there. Okay. The next thing we have coming up is a ramp build, and that's going to be the 3rd, and I think, Myra, if I've got that, yeah, I've got the address correct on there, so we're good to go with that. And then Early Act First Night has some more things coming up in November. Just watch your trumpet. November the 9th is the next one that's going to be at Pearl Elementary. And then Mitchell's the 13th, and November 28th is Carver Elementary. Vanessa's not here today. She's in Dallas, but we have forms over here on the table. If you haven't ordered your table for the Patriot Ball, please do that. David Kellerman's here. David, did you need to say anything today, or are you good? You want to say something?
Thank you, Karen. A number of things. I guess y'all knew we're going to ask for sign-ups today, so that's why we're light on the crowd, huh? Yeah. First of all, we have the Field of Honor caps in. If you pre-ordered one, see us after the meeting over at this table, and we'll give you your cap. If you'd like to purchase a cap and bill it to your account, you can do that. They're $20 a piece. Very nice caps. Rob Kahn got those put together for us. If you have not picked up your Field of Honor shirt yet, please see me after the meeting. Thank y'all for those who brought coolers today for the Boo and Brew tomorrow. Still can use 1, maybe 2 more people to help tomorrow afternoon from 4 to 7. Seriously, folks, it's real easy. All you have to do is show up. Some people will be selling wristbands, everybody else will be pouring beer. It's that simple. For 3 hours, 4 to 7, at Wolf Ranch, over there by the Ross Dress for Less parking lot. Roger, thank you for putting that together. To see him after the meeting, if you can help volunteer tomorrow afternoon, evening 4 to 7. And we get all the money for every single wristband sold. We got 75 cases of beer sitting in my hallway at Mel's, waiting to get iced down tomorrow morning. Five different brands, all local beer. It's going to be a great time. If you don't want to come and volunteer, bring your kids out or just come out yourself. Enjoy some nice beers out there. We also have sign-ups for all of the other events going on starting next week. Need about 10 people next Wednesday at 10 a.m. at our storage shed. The address is on there. We'll send out another email reminding of the address. We're going to load up the trailer with all the flags and equipment that we have in the storage shed for the field. Should take no more than 2 hours, probably less than that, but 10 o'clock next Wednesday. Sign-ups over there for it. Next Thursday morning at the VFW Hall at 1000 North College Street, we're going to set up the tables and all for the assembly, bring everything inside, and like last year, probably get some flags started as far as putting them together. That will go till about noon. Next Friday, 8 a.m., everybody, VFW Hall to assemble flags. Our meeting next week is at the VFW Hall. It is not here. You come here next week, nobody's going to be here. We'll have box lunches out there, normal meeting time, but please come early or stay afterwards to help finish assembling the flags and loading them up in the trailer. And then Saturday, November the 3rd is when we put the field together. The tent will already be up, the observation stand's going to already be up, but we need people out there to help put out the rebar, lay it on the field. The police and fire department will pound it in the ground for us, but then also put the flags up, put the yellow dedication tags on, and get the field ready for that afternoon, where we will have our first responders bringing out all of their fun toys, all of their vehicles for display for the public. We'll be selling flags Saturday afternoon, and the field will be open. Please mark your calendar, November 4th, Sunday, 2 p.m. You'll want to get there early if you want a seat, is the opening ceremonies. I can tell you, Lieutenant Colonel Jim Rye and Jeannie have been working really hard on this, and they have got a great program for us for the opening ceremonies. You're not going to want to miss that. So there again, we have all the sign-ups over here. I got the Field of Honor shirts, got the Field of Honor caps. Please come see us after the meeting. If you can only work for 1 hour, please, that will help. We need everybody's hands getting dirty next week. Thank you.
Okay, I know you all got that right. You got all of that. Watch your trumpet. That's where you're going to see all the schedules. The schedule was in there this last week, and we'll keep it going next week as well. If you purchased a table and you haven't turned in your guests, there's forms on the table over there. In order to do that, you can also email it to me, and I'll make sure that I get it to Myra.
So flags.
Pardon?
Also turn in their flag dedications for the people who bought a half table or more sponsorship. Your flag that you get with your sponsorship, those names need to be turned in. And today was the deadline for turning in your seats and your flags. So if you can get that to us today, that'd be great. Thanks.
Okay. And Myra, if you'll go through a couple more slides for me. We've got a lot of changes coming up in our meeting times. One more. There we go. That one's it. As David said, November the 2nd will be at the VFW Hall. Then Monday the 5th is a multi-club luncheon. Make sure you've got your reservations in. Elizabeth can take those for you today. Then the 9th of November, there's no meeting because we're doing the 5th. And then Friday the 16th, we're across the street. So there's a lot of changes coming up. Watch your trumpet, and we'll make sure that it's in there every week so you know where we are. We don't want you to miss a meeting. We don't want to miss seeing you. Okay. David Maasai is out of town, so we have nothing for membership this week. But one of the things I want to say to you before I invite Georgianne forward is I want to thank you all. This club has been extremely busy. There's so much going on. Everybody is keeping late hours in front of their computers and trying to move everything forward. So I just wanted to take a minute and pause to recognize everyone in this room that has worked so hard. If you've done anything at all for this upcoming event, Field of Honor or Patriot Ball, would you please stand? Wow, that's amazing. Thank you all so much. You know, we all are tired and we're out in the community and somebody will come up to you and say, thank you so much for doing this event. Takes it all away, makes it all worth it. So I just want you to know we appreciate that. The other thing I want you to know is last week the blood drive exceeded all expectations. You guys came in with 24 pints and they typically only get 15. So they're very happy with the turnout that you all did for them. Everywhere you look, there's Rotarians doing good. Thank you all so much. Okay, Georgianne, would you like to introduce our program?
I'm pleased to announce today that we're going to have Trudy Marshall come and speak to us. Trudy represents Libraries of Love, and earlier this year, the Rotary Club of Georgetown gave $2,500 to Libraries of Love. So we felt like it's important for you all to see where the money that we raise goes and to what end. And so I hope you'll welcome Trudy, who is also a Rotarian. She's a member of the Rotary Club of Pflugerville. So Trudy, welcome.
I think I would be all about eradicating malaria. I think I'm up to 5 times now, so it would be good to be rid of that. This year I did not get it. I was happy. I have a lot to share, so we're going to move rather fast. It was another unusual trip, as they usually are. So I'm back now until February. Thank you for your support. And we're going to see if this works. If not, I will nod at you. Oh, it does. 60% of students in 6th grade cannot read and comprehend. But if you can imagine if, say, your child is in school or your grandchild, and somebody went in this afternoon and removed every single book out of their school, and all your books from your home, how would your child learn? Yeah, they can only learn what the teacher would write on the board, then she would have to erase, write again. And it would be really difficult, and that's what we face in Uganda. No books at all in the schools. 30% of students attend school after 7th. 8th grade is high school, and it gets expensive. It's around $75, $100, and the average salary is $130 a month. So not many kids get to go to high school. This is one of our classes. The classes run. A small class is 85, but a lot of our schools have 200 children with one teacher. She carries a cane pole, and if you aren't listening, you get whacked. Yeah. So now in Uganda, we have 37 school libraries. In Kenya, really remote, in Maasai, we have the 7 libraries there. This is what it looks like. We'll ship in February. Every box has a label of a school name on it. I'm there when they arrive, and I sort them by school, and then the schools come and pick them up, and they stay shut until my team arrives, and then we put the libraries in order. So every Monday, for those that don't know, I have a group that does Dewey Decimal spine labels, and then every Friday, Dell Computer sends a group, and we put in pockets and cards. Old-fashioned checkout for our schools don't have electricity. So here's my team. I do have shelves made out of metal now. Used to we did wood, but now it's easier for me to do metal. And then all the books have to be laid out, easy, fiction, nonfiction, then put in order. Big job. This was our newest high school. It's a high school library. It has, we put in almost 3,000 books, and next year we'll put in 2,000 more, next year. I put this in because this is our very first library in 2005. We put in 2,000 books, but in 2009 we put in 1,000, 2016, 1,400, 2018, 889. So one thing I want to make sure of is that the libraries last for a lifetime. At this school, we're on our 3rd generation passing through the library. And so we always go back, restock, we put new flooring down and different things to make it look good. But we never do a library and leave it. I'm in and out of these all the time. When I need carpet, as we call it, for the floor in the library, I go downtown, they roll it out on the sidewalk, cut it, I put it on a motorcycle taxi, and I'm off to the school to deliver. Yeah, so we try to keep the carpet nice so when the kids walk in, they leave their shoes at the door and then come in. So just a few pictures of our kids with their books. Class, you can see the library in the background. Our high schools. A lot of times I go in and sing with them if they're in the library. This year or I guess last year, we made a wish list. There's a link from our website to Amazon, and we're trying to put 50-some books in each school that have an African-based theme. The little girl that's there is holding up this book. It's about a little boy in Malawi, and his family was starving. In fact, his father was blind from starvation. And some Americans put in a library, and he read a book on how to make a windmill. And he actually created a windmill out of bicycle parts, old parts, and different things. And it brought water and electricity to the village and saved the village. So our kids wrote summaries of books. One little girl in 6th grade wrote about this book. She said, "So I do tell people to avoid listening to the bad ideas affecting them and always get their goals and never give up or lose hope because of useless words, but listen to the good ideas that will build you." So that was after she read one of our books. So they're good about writing summaries. Again, as I've shared with you last year, I have a 2-day headmaster principal meeting and then 2-day librarian meeting. I always meet with some of the principals early because I want them to lead the meeting, not me lead it. And so I meet with them and share what we need to have at the meeting. So this is a couple of our headmasters, and they're sharing books. This year we brought 7 of our 7 librarians from Kenya into Uganda. It was like a 12-hour trip for them to get out of Maasai land and then come in. And they were so funny. They wanted to show those Ugandans how the Maasai do. So in the next one is we'll watch part of it. It's a short dance. They do this head dance. Okay. Whoa, what happened? Okay, let's see. They were all out in the aisles and they were all doing You'd think I've been in Kenya, Maasai land 12 years now. You would think I would know how to do that dance well, but it's a little difficult. Our high schools again had their famous competition. I only provide judges and prizes, and they plan the whole thing. Mingo Secondary has 70 kids in their Read and Discover book clubs, so they do a lot of the planning. The boy on the left actually drew that picture and colored it, and then he gave a book summary over that. The girls on the right, it's a travel brochure about Kenya. They are Ugandans, but it's about Kenya. The one holding the pictures drew the pictures. The person next to her did all the writing. It's on the back also. And then they decided for the presentation to dress a couple kids up as Maasai. This boy also gave a book summary dressed as a book character. And then every year we have Romeo and Juliet, and every year they get more dramatic. So on the right is, oh my goodness, they die on the floor, and they're a hoot. Yeah. So now we have 44 libraries, and we keep track. We've had over 100,000 students go through our libraries. And then we have extensions. We have 63 sponsored kids, and we pay all their school fees. We buy school supplies. First term, they get uniforms, second term, shoes, third term, book bags. I'm in their houses evenings and weekends all the time, so if they're out of food in their house, they call me. If grandma's sick, they call me. I know each one of these kids and their families and their homes. In the capital city, we have 15, and now we have 5 college graduates. I have 3 in college right now. This is Maasai land in Kenya, and our first time to have sponsored kids there, we have 13. They start school at 3 years. They call it baby class, and then we have middle class, then we have top, and then on. So a lot of times when I'm checking on the kids, they only have the 1 pair of shoes, and I'll look at their shoes and go, oh, they wore out fast because they're out in the dirt and stones all the time. And so I'll get a car and I'll load them up and take them to town, and we'll buy new shoes. So these are a couple of our sponsored, and then some others tagged along, so they got blessed with shoes as well. This is one of our boys I've had since 3rd grade. And now he's in high school. I met him, some friends lived by his house. His mother killed his father by starving him to death. He was an invalid. And then she packed up and took everything out of the house and left Juma with only his clothes and his shoes, the ones he had on. And so the neighbors were wondering, what are we gonna do with Juma? And so I put him in boarding school, and he is doing really well. Juma is on the left, and he's doing so well. On the right is Santos. His parents are dead. He's one of our sponsored. But I was sitting talking to them one day, and they said something, it was so wonderful, I wanted to share it with the sponsors. So I said, could you just repeat that, and I'll write it down? And here's what they said. Santos said, you know, the Bible says God knew us even when we were in our mother's womb, Juma. So he knew we would need help. He probably had a list, but crossed everyone off because he knew you would take care of us best. And then he drew a line on the table, and he said, it was like all these people were on this side headed to be successful, and we're on the other side with no hope. And then Santos said, you found us and our life changed. Without you, we would have left school after primary and would probably be on the streets. And really, all the glory goes to God first, and then to sponsors who are willing to help pay their fees. I could not pay 63 kids' fees. So I am so thankful for people that have picked up and paid these boys' fees. I keep a slush fund so that when I see, like these 4 were being chased for school, if you can't pay your school fees, kids go back to school every day, and every day they're chased away from the school. And so these kids were headed out the gate, and I took them back. Every day I get on the motorcycle taxi and I go, okay, let's find our good deed for the day. So before I go to work in libraries, we find somebody that needs help and we help them. The guy on the right was watching my kids get shoes, and so I took him and bought him shoes and clothes. This is a lady that feeds our kids at our poorest school. I probably showed you her picture. Last year, our headmaster was pocketing money and not feeding the kids 5 days a week. I have someone that goes and checks at least every 2 weeks on this. And so I moved them and had this lady cook, and now she's checked all the time, but she feeds the kids well. In Maasai land, I've had donations to put up 5 water tanks where I've seen children drinking with the cows out of the pond. This is one of the water tanks. And then other things happened. Last year, remember I shared with you Jennifer. the lady, she had loaned a man money, and when she asked for it back, he locked Jennifer and her 13-year-old and 2 4-year-olds in a hut from the outside, poured gasoline all over it and torched it. Yeah, and so this year I was anxious to get back to see Jennifer. And on the way on the airplane, I went, okay, God, I don't want to go back to a hospital this year, because all those burned people were laid out, one after another, some so burned that really only their eyes was left. I came home with horrible nightmares, picturing all these people I had met, and so this year I did not want to go back to a hospital. Here's Jennifer last year. For those that were not here last year, if you go to the hospital, you do not get medicine, food, or water. You have to supply it yourself. So she had been in the hospital 7 days without even a pain pill when I found her. So here she is. She was so excited, and Jennifer and her kids, we built her a house last year, and when I arrived this year, she said, I want to sing you a song. And I was like, okay, Jennifer, you sing. You'll see some people with them, my granddaughters and some of their friends, and a man from Wales was with me. My granddaughters are the 2 on the left. Okay, let's see if we can.
With God, all things are possible. That's the meaning of the song.
They told her she would never use her hands, so watch her clap, she's fine. Okay, you can see she's doing fine. So it didn't work out so well, my not going to the hospital. Ivan is one of our sponsors. He's 20 and in 6th grade because he had been out of school so long. So I'm trying to get him, after 7th grade, you can go to VOTEC school. So I'm trying to get Ivan through 7th grade, but he had lockjaw. He had tetanus. How many of you know anything about tetanus? If you were called to the hospital and they said somebody has tetanus. Yeah, I didn't. I was like, really? And I got there and he was in such bad shape. But 9 out of 10 patients die of tetanus there. It totally locks up your head from the bottom of your throat up so you can't swallow. Most patients end up suffocating. And then the tetanus virus takes 3 to 5 months to work out of your system. So you're not eating, so they run a tube down your throat and feed you liquids. So I was out looking for anything with vitamins in it, anything for Ivan. And in the end, I ended up with 6 tetanus patients. And you have to have at least 3 deals of Tetan A, which I had to order from the capital city and have brought on a bus, but they're $40 a tube. So, yeah, so even if you get to the hospital, your chances of dying are really high. We saved 4 and 2 older ladies died. But they told me, don't go in there, they're under quarantine and everything. I spent enormous amount of time in holding hands, patting them. I would sing to Ivan. Another one that brought in was Damasco. You can see how skinny he has become. But people were donating money. These are side projects. I don't spend library money on them. I raise the funding myself. But Damasco, they told me for sure he would die. They said, there's no hope, you can't save him, he's gonna die. And I was like, I don't know, I don't think so. And so we provided all the medicine. He got better, and then after he was better, I thought, I need to go out and visit Damasco in his home. So I got on a motorcycle, and this is about a 2-mile trip, and I'm on the back of this motorcycle. We won't watch hardly any of it because I want to get through and it's almost time. Can you start that? Once people call Living in the Bush. Okay, let's go for it. When I got there, this was Damasco's house. He and Santos, his brother, sleep on the left, mother in the middle, and the whole end of it was falling out. And so when it rained, they would have to stuff things in. They didn't have one chair, a bed, or anything. So people had donated, so I just posted, and I wasn't even thinking build a house. And then all these people started writing me saying, you know, we've already built 2 houses, let's build a house here also. And so I went, okay, we can do that. And they already own the land, so I just had to build the house. Here is the house. It's actually mud brick with cement covering it. And here's Damasco. His brother had been out of school 2 years because no fees. And one of my volunteers is putting him in boarding school in Votech in January. He will start. Thank you so much for all you do. I don't know if I have 5 more minutes or not. Do I have 5 more? Okay. Yeah, so really we are making a huge difference there. I'll go back in February, and even when I'm not there, I have people in and out of the libraries checking on them, and I have a person in charge of sponsored kids. Do you have strong stomachs here? I don't show this to all Rotaries, but you all know me so well, I think you can put up with me, can't you? Okay, well, if you're not asleep yet. Let me go on. Okay, so this is a little town I've shown you before. I stay in Kenya. There's no sit-down toilet in the whole town. We share community latrines. So there's really nothing out there, very few cars. I took my granddaughter this year and made her help build a manyatta, a Maasai home, which you have to mix cow dung, cow urine, and water. Now, how do you get cow urine? A big bucket? Yeah. Well, here's something for you to learn today, your history lesson. When cows urinate, they only urinate. But if they do the other, they do both at one time, every time. So then it falls to the ground, it mixes, and all you have to do is just scoop it up and add a little water, and you're ready to smear it on the outside and inside of your home. Now, one of the cattle herders said, and was telling me about all this, and he said, and when we're out with cattle, if a lion is approaching, the way we know it is all the cattle urinate at one time, it makes a huge sound, and we know there's a lion. He said if elephants or anything else approaches, they don't do that. Only with lions. Okay, that's your history lesson. My granddaughter did really well, smearing the cow poo right on that house. It was fun. But thank you again for sponsoring us. We really appreciate. You can tell that your funding was well used. And next year we're going to do 3 new libraries and 3 new primary school libraries, and we're going to restock 10. So we will ship about probably 15,000 books. So thank you so much.
Well, now there you go, y'all. You didn't know how lucky you were, did you? That's pretty interesting stuff. Thank you, Trudy, so much. And we appreciate you signing the book for us to give to Pearl Elementary. There is an announcement that I need to give you, and this is for Julian Grant. He couldn't be here today, but he has some Harvard College Glee Club students coming that'll be touring Texas, and he's looking for some host homes to house these folks in. So this is going to be in January 20th through 22nd. So if any of you are interested in helping him with that, let Julian know. We'll go ahead and announce that again next week. Are there any other announcements for the good of Rotary? Yes, sir.
David, you still need volunteers to sign up today, right? Yeah, next week we do the flag, right? Okay, so sign up accordingly or we'll put you down for a certain time. Uh-oh.
And David, there was a change in the schedule I put out in this week in Rotary, I think November the 12th, it's at 2 o'clock.
We've changed it to Tuesday morning, the 13th is when we're going to take down the field. Monday afternoon, the 12th, is when people can come pick up their flags from 2 to 7. Tuesday morning, the 13th, is when we're going to disassemble the rest of the field. So mark your calendar for that.
Yeah, and we'll put that in the trumpet again next week, because there's a lot of dates going on. We want to keep you all informed, because we want you there as much as you can. Yes, Brian?
Most of these dates are on the website and your calendar.
Yay. Have you all seen our website recently, huh? What do you think? It's awesome. Thank you, Brian. Doing a super good job. Okay, anything else for the good of Rotary? And I'll see you all tonight at Mesquite Outfitters. We will be doing our Planes for Polio. If you would join me in the things we think, say, and do. First, second, is fair to all concerned. Third, will build goodwill and better friendships. And fourth, will be beneficial to all concerned. We're adjourned. Thank you all so much.